everyone, it's Jen from Jen DuBell Designs, and I am going to dive into my album with you and how I created it. Hopefully you've already watched the walkthrough and saw the album. This was using Beach Vibes from 49 and Market, and I also had the tonic, Jen can't talk today, the tonic foiled paper here. Let me grab that really quick because obviously I'm having a brain cramp. Turkish turquoise. It's the Craft Perfect Mirror card, and you get 5 sheets of 8.5 by 11 in here. But I wanted to show you a little trick that I do. If I'm using this as a border and I want to save some of the paper, do you see this big empty space here? All I need is about 1/4 of an inch to be my mat. So I literally cut the inside squares out and then put the little frame of paper down. I don't usually do that for my spine, but these 2 larger pieces, now I have these 2 quite large pieces, which were a little over 5.5 by a little over 7.5. So that's a lot of that mirrored cardstock that I can use throughout my album. So just a little tip. So this album, as seen in the walkthrough, is 6.5 by 8.5. So what you will do for the Lay Flat Method, which I have linked below, is a 6.5 by 8.5 twice of your heavy chipboard, and then our belly band. Geez, see, I told you I can't talk today. Our spine is 2 by 8.5. The paper that you will need to wrap that, and I'm using Artisan Craft, is going to be 8.5 by 10.5 for the cover and the back, so that's twice. And then you'll need a 5 by 10.5 for your spine, and a 5 by about 8 3/8 for the cover of the spine. Now, I am toying with the idea of doing an extra piece, and obviously I haven't finished the album, so I don't know for sure if I'm going to do it yet. But you will have seen in the walkthrough if I decided to do this, and that was to add another piece that goes over. I'm bordering on not doing it, so, but it is an option that you can do, and it's just 2 by 5 pieces of the heavyweight chipboard. One was rounded, but I think I'm going to use that actually for another album. So moving along, I also have the white 65-pound smooth that you will see throughout that walkthrough. I did put that on my covers, and all of my measuring from cover to whatever surface I'm on, whether it be a flap or a page, is going to be, I do 1/8 of an inch different for each one. So for instance, my white mat on here, my album is 6.5 by 8.5. The white mat is 6 3/8 by 8 3/8. The blue mat is 6 1/4 by 8 1/4, and so on and so on. If you want more, you can definitely go larger. This album is going to have 3 pocket pages that are the signatures, and then we will build flaps and such on each one of those pocket pages. So I have one here. I have all 3 actually, but let me grab for you a pocket page base so that you can see what I mean. Take all of my flaps and such out of this one, and I will show you what the regular just pocket page looks like. So this is what our bases will look like. We're going to make 3 of these. They will attach inside that spine by this 1/2 inch, and there is a 1/4 inch give space there for when you fold in and closing. If you want a larger give space, you can increase this 1/4 inch that we're doing to 1/2. I have seen that done. But then your pages themselves will shrink down to 5 3/4. So keep that in mind. So moving along, before I confuse you even more, we're going to go into making the pocket page that I'm going to show. And like I said, you will make 3 of these identical pocket pages, and then we will build on each one of those as we go. So for that, each one you need a 6.5 by 9 1/4 and a 6 3/4 by 8 1/4. So this is our pocket page base, and we're going to put that in our scoreboard with the 6 3/4 at the top. We're going to score this at half. And I'm throwing things already. And at 3/4. Okay. And then just go ahead on that 3/4 line and bend that back and give that a good burnish. You'll see why here in just a minute. Set that aside and grab your 6.5 by 9 1/4. We're going to score this on the 6.5 at half. Turn so that your 9 1/4 is here. We're going to score at half. And we're going to turn it again to the other side and score at half. So we're scoring at half on 3 sides. Once you get those nice and scored, go ahead and miter those cross sections. And I like to also miter the top corner of this. It's like doing a giant gusseted envelope, basically. And then we're just going to fold all of our score lines and burnish them. And I am going to do my folding towards my writing. I try to write on all of them for you so that you see the measurements. And that one I cut a little too much, but that's all right. It'll work itself out. All right, so for this, you have your bottom gusset and your side gussets. What you want to do next is we're just going to apply our glue to that bottom gusset. Just the bottom for now. We're going to pick up our pocket page our base that we made. On that fold is where you want to attach this. So just pick it up and line that up as best as you can. You want to get it as even as possible on all 3 sides there. No overlapping anywhere. And once you have that all nice and neat, then we can, which can be tricky, I will tell you at times. It does not like to always lay down where you want it to. All right. I'm going to go ahead and run my bone folder up that, and I'm going to flip this open and see what we have going on inside here. Now, I want a nice smooth transition when I try to put my elements in the pockets, so I'm going to take some regular Scotch tape, and I'm going to just go right across that gusset that we just adhered. And I'm going to smooth that out. And then I'm going to add glue to my 2 sides. No need for tape on these. Make sure that you only get the glue on the top of it though, and I just got some underneath. I don't want my pocket to stick to itself. And then you can easily fold that over and then just burnish that down, making sure that it all lines up with itself, with the bottom, not with itself, so that you don't get too much puckering. It will open a little, and that's okay. This is where you want to make sure that everything stayed in line, which mine did. It is not my normal rag. I need to grab... I like to cut up my husband's old t-shirts and use them because they pick up the glue very nicely and they last quite a while. All right, so I have all that glue out of there. Just making sure we get a good stick all the way around. And then you can unfold that little gusset. And then we're going to fold on that 1/4 inch line. Mine is not quite scored good enough for my taste, so I'm going to give it a little better scoring there. My little give space. There we go. And then I just want to push this down. This is very hard to show on camera how I do this, but I'm basically just folding that over because I want it to already be kind of worked. And I feel, all right, so there's our pocket page. So again, you will do that 3 times to make your 3 pocket pages. So, all right, we are going to start with the first one, and that, I've already done all 3 of my pocket pages now. I did the one with you. This is going to have, I can't remember where I had my, oh, this goes across. Yes, okay. I need to grab some magnets really quick. This album will require a few sets of basic gray magnets, is what I use. I'm using the smalls. So for this one, this is signature 1, side A. So here's your signature. We are going to put on some cascading, kind of like a waterfall, but not really a waterfall because they're cascading flaps that are just a little bit smaller in size. And then there's going to be a pocket or pocketed, can't talk, flap that goes here. So the pocket will be on the bottom, and we'll magnetize this, okay? So you're going to have 2 pieces for your cascading, 5 by 7 3/4 and 4 by 7 1/4. For the 5 by 7 3/4, go ahead and put that in at 7 3/4 and score it half. And we're going to fold that and burnish it. And we'll go ahead and miter those corners. I apologize if I keep bumping my light with my head. I have a rather large ring light. Let me turn it just a bit. And if it's too close to my face, I will hit it, and then it makes the whole table bump. So sorry about that. All right, set that one aside and put your 4 by 7 1/4, and we're going to do the same thing. Just score that on the 7 1/4 right at half. And we will miter those corners. And fold and burnish. All right. Now these I can put in. Go ahead, because I can still decorate with these in. So the first thing you're going to do is the large one. We are going to add glue. And I'm going to use my scoreboard as a guide. So I'm going to fold back my give space and my gusset on this page. And I'm just going to place that in my scoreboard. And this will be a 1/2 inch on each side of difference. So I want to put that first corner right up to the half, second one up to the 5.5, and then I'm just going to straighten it all out. Make sure that everything looks cohesive. Mine does not, so we'll try that again. We're going to go in at the half. All right, this is giving me fits. Let me grab my ruler and just double check my own work here. Oh yeah, no, that's way off. Goodness. Let's make sure that it's not this. Nope, this is even. Well, I don't quite understand. Let me grab my 1/2-inch spacer. That's a helpful thing too. Just gonna stick that right in there. And we'll put that up against there, and that should be nice and straight. And I do believe that it worked better that way. Okay, so I'm going to add glue again because mine, you know, dried up because it took so long. All right. Put that on the one. I don't know what is happening here. I should not be having these problems with getting this even, but I am. It's because it is popping up at the top, I see. Okay. That's better. All right, now I can burnish. Goodness gracious. All right, and then our other one, give that a really good burnish so I don't have that problem again. It's because when I folded that one, it did not fold exactly on that line. And again, we're going to go 1/2 inch over, so I'm just going to go ahead and put my handy little spacer bar right there. And then I can set this on here. Make sure everything lines up at the top. And it does now. And then I can open that up and do a good burnish. So there you have your 2 flaps, like so. For the other section, we have a 6.5 by 4. Put this in your scoreboard at that 6.5, and we are going to score it half. Go ahead and miter the sides of those score lines. And burnish. Now, let me make sure I measured correctly. Yes, I did. Okay, cool. All right. Now the 7 by 2.5, which is our pocket, we're going to put that in at 7. We are going to score it half, and mine actually is a teensy bit less than 7. I do think I did that on purpose, just to make sure that it fits. Yeah, so I took about a 1/16 of an inch off the 7. And the reasoning for that is so that it does not overlap on my page. So turn that to the 2.5, score that right at 2, flip it around back to that 7, and score it half. And we are just going to miter at those cross sections and tops. And I'm going to fold mine in because I don't want to see my writing, if that makes sense. And I can glue this down as well with you because I do have my trusty Scrapbook Adhesives Easy Runner with the repositionable tape, which is also available at the CCC store. If you don't have that, it is a wonderful tool to have. I did not miter this one quite enough. My corners are trying to overlap each other. There we go. How's this one? A little bit. All right. So then you have the 6.5 by 4 little flap. And I want to give this pocket a really good burnishing. And I'm going to add a glue to that bottom gusset. We're going to do the little tape trick on this one as well. And I am going to use my scoreboard. Line that pocket right up in there. Beautiful. Make sure everything's in line. Flip that open. And then I'm just going to add some Scotch tape across there. This just makes it so whatever insert you use kind of slides a little easier. It is definitely optional. It's not something you have to do. You still will be able to fit things inside of there. I'm going to add glue to the 2 1/2-inch side tabs now. Because I can decorate this, I still can fit paper in there. Not sure what's going on there. That's a little off kilter on my folding or something. All right, there we go. All right, so then we have this fun little pocket flap. Okay, next we're going to bring our page back in. We are going to add glue to the back of this 1/2-inch. And that is going to go, you can go ahead and fold back your flaps if need be. But that is going to go right here at the very bottom. You want to line that up at the bottom of the page and all the way over to make sure everything stays nice and lined up. And then we can flip up our flaps and burnish. Like I don't have enough glue there. We're going to add a little more glue to this. Okay, so this is what you have, a flap that goes this way and goes over. Now, where you're going to put a magnet, I'm going to grab a plus and a minus of my magnets here. And I'm going to put those, whoa, they went flying. I'm going to put those together. I'm going to peel the backing off of them. I'm going to peel the backing off one side first. Go ahead and flip your flaps up because you don't want these to get in the way. You need to put this down on this flap enough that you can still cover it with paper. So about probably about not quite an inch, maybe a 1/2 inch. Let me see what I did there. I did 3/4. That should work. And then we're just going to grab the backing off the plus. If Jen's fingers will work. Whoops, I didn't want the whole magnet. I just want the backing. We're going to flip this over. And there you have it. So then, when this is all decorated, that will close on top of our flaps. Okay, easy peasy stuff. On to side B. Okay, so for side B, very simple. We're going to take a 6 by 7 3/4, and on that 6, we're just going to score it half. And I will show you why. Now, these you could put a magnet. You don't have to. It's not necessary. If I change my mind, you will have seen that in my walkthrough, but I don't think I'm going to do that. So we're going to go ahead and fold over our score line and burnish. And this is going to simply go right on side B, but we're going to put this on the edge here. And it should fit with 1/4 of an inch approximately at the top and the bottom. This is going, as you, again, saw in the walkthrough, will have a decorative effect to put a picture on the cover, and then the inside will be not as fancy. It will just be a photo mat. All right. Make sure I'm lining up here. We don't want to adhere it to the pocket because you need to be able to move your pocket. So this will be decorated. And I am either not right on the fold or something's happening here because mine does not want to lay down. It should lay down perfectly for you. And it does. Okay. Might even add a little string and tie it there. I'm not sure yet. I kind of haven't thought that one completely through. All right, so that is signature 1 done in the books. Okay, for signature 2, it is going to mirror side B. So side A is going to mirror signature 1, side B. So for this one, we're going to adhere this again, but it will be on this side. So put your 6 by 7 3/4 in and go ahead and score that right at 5.5 so that our score line and our gusset here is on the right side. I'm gonna miter those. And I'm going to fold them over. Burnish. Nice crisp line there, so burnish that really well. And then we'll add our glue. And again, so your gusset this time is on this side. We're going to go to the outside and 1/4 of an inch. It's actually a little bit more, I think, than 1/4 inch. Let me make sure. I think I might have made that one a little shorter. I did. I think I just grabbed the wrong paper, guys. Give me 1 second. I did. I cut this to 7.5, and it needs to be 7 3/4. All right. One moment. All right, so just like the side B of signature 1, this should be 6 by 7 3/4. So we are going to take this, put it in our scoreboard at 6, and we're going to score at 5.5 so that our score line is on the correct side. Pull that down. I'm going to give that a good burnish on the other side too, because it is not wanting to fold. I mean score, not burnish. I want to get a nice crisp line on this, so sometimes you have to score from both sides in order to get that line nice and crisp so it goes on your book evenly. And now that I have the proper length, I can add my glue. And we are on the right side where our opening is here. 1/4 inch from the top, 1/4 inch from the bottom. And you might want to pull your pocket open and just make sure that that's all lining up nicely before you do your burnishing. And then I'm just going to go in there and burnish that nicely. Make sure I have enough glue. And that is side A. So you can see how when these lay, they will mirror each other. Okay. All right, so on to side B. All right, for side B, so now we're going to flip this over and we have our give space and our gusset to the right. For this one, we're going to have 2 flaps. These are, not quite sure why I didn't write on these, but they are 6 by 4 1/8. Okay. Is that right? No, they are 6 by 4. Yeah, sorry, 6 by 4. So on the 6, you just want to go in and score those at either at half or at 5 1/2. I'm going to do 5 1/2 just in case my cutting was a little off, because I want to make sure this fits perfectly on my page. So I'm going to do that with both. I'm just going to score these right at 5 1/2. On both sides, I'm going to go ahead and score. And we are going to miter all right. So then we're going to bring our book in. And go ahead and fold and burnish on those score lines for your little flaps. All right. These are going to adhere. Did I do them this way? Or did I do them this way? This way. Okay. Add glue. And we are going to put these at this top area up here. So you can fold over your 1/4 inch give space if it makes it easier, and bring these in so they go all the way to the top of the page. Nicely lined up to that outer edge and to the sides. Make sure that doesn't hang over. Mine does just a wee bit, so I'm gonna fix it. It went up a little too high. And we don't want that because then our space in the middle won't work out. Okay. Okay, and then the other one, we'll do the same, but we will put it closer to the bottom, and that's going to give us a 1/4 inch excuse me, of space in the middle of the page. So bring this one all the way to the bottom. Go ahead and burnish that. And then once you have everything nice and even, just check it and make sure. Mine seems a little bit longer, so I may have to trim this one. I'm not quite sure how that happened, but this one is a wee bit longer than 5 1/2. I think it's because I didn't place it back quite far enough, so I'm gonna pull mine off, and I'm going to re-glue mine. And if it still seems a little long, I can trim it, but it is fine. All right. Okay. Mine is a tiny bit long, but I'm just going to trim it All right. So then what you will have is a 10 1/4 by 8. And for that, we're just going to put that in at the 10 1/4. We're going to score this at 4 1/4. I will be rounding. I need to grab my corner rounder. I thought I had all my tools out, but I guess I don't. I apologize. I am going to round these corners to make it easier to slide in and out of my pocket. I'm going to use the 3-way one here, and I'm going to do these at 7 millimeters. I'm not going to round these just yet. Fold over where we just scored at that 4 1/4 and get that a nice crisp line. I want that burnished really nicely. Now, how this one is going to work, I'm going to add some wave border onto this. This will slide into our pocket page like so. And then our little flap here that will be embellished. Once I get it up there, it's being kind of rude. Rude paper. I need it to be more in the middle, and it's not cooperating. Okay. Will be like so, and I'm going to put a magnet closure here. Okay. So, again, I'm going to grab a plus, and I'm going to grab a minus, and I'm going to put those together. I am going to take the backing off of one side, and I need that. Once I have this lined up right where I want it, then we will put it there. So I'm going to stick my magnet about 3/4 of an inch in on the back side of our little flap here. I'm going to zhuzh this a little so that I can get it where I want it. There we go. Then we're going to pull our flaps open. Take the sticky off the back side of the other portion of the magnet and just simply put that down like so. And that's going to leave our magnet there in between our flaps. It'll actually be under one of them. But when you close this, it's going to hold those flaps closed. Okay? So that is signature 2. Done. For signature 3, we are going to have that same, that's signature 1. What am I doing here? Signature 3. Let's grab the right one, Jen. Signature 3 has 2 vertical pockets, and it will also have that same 10 1/4 by 8. So we're going to put our 10 1/4 by 8 once again on our scoreboard, and I am going to score this at 4 1/4. On both sides because we are folding this and I really want a good fold. And I'm going to round my corners again with that 7 millimeter, just the ones that slide into the pocket for now. Is it still going to be up? No, it's not upside down. I thought I was messing with myself there and not putting it the right way. All right, once that is burnished, this is what you'll have. The same thing we had on the last one, but this is on this side. And this time we're going to have 2 vertical pockets that go from the left. So for those vertical pockets, you're going to have 2 pieces that are 2 1/2 by 9 1/4. Put those in at the 9 1/4. Score it half. Turn. Score at 2 1/4. Oh, this one is 2 and 3. What is happening here? These are supposed to be 2 1/2 and they're 2 3/4. Let me just fix these. Wait, did I do that on purpose? 2 3/4. Yeah, these are 2 1/2. Let me fix mine. I'm just off camera here cutting these correctly. I'm not quite sure why mine came out 2 3/4 when they're supposed to be 2 1/2. This is Jen cutting at night. That's what happened. All right, 9 1/4 by 2 1/2. I'm going to put this in on that 2 1/2 now. And I have lost my bone folder. Good griefus. Score it 2. And then we'll flip it around again so it's at that 9 1/4 and score it half. Okay, miter those at the cross sections and at the tops of the score lines. That's what you will have. And then the other one, goodness, where did it go? Okay, well, I cut 2. I'm not sure what's happening here. I'm losing things. Ah, here it is. Okay. So we're going to put this in again. 9 1/4. I'm going to score it half. I'm going to turn. I'm going to score it 2. And I'm going to turn again, and I'm going to score it half. All right. Go ahead and, again, we're going to miter. All of our edges. And I'm going to pull my scoreboard out for this because I want to make sure these lay nice and flat. And those little ridges, they don't help with that. So, all right. Set that aside and pull this in. Now you want your pockets on the left. So if it helps, you can fold down your give space and your 1/2-inch gusset on this side so that you make sure you line everything up nice and neatly. So grab one of the pieces that we just scored. We're going to fold and burnish all the score lines on this one. All 3 need to be folded and burnished on this one. On the other one, we will not be folding the bottom. If you are familiar with stacked pockets, you will know why. And I did not get mine quite enough. I don't like my stuff overlapping too much because it can make it difficult for things to slide in and out of pockets. All right, there we go. All right. So I'm going to add glue to this. Now these are very shallow pockets, so I'm not concerned with doing the little tape trick. So I'm going to actually glue all 3 gussets on this one. And then I just want to bring that up to my book page, to my signature, and line that pocket up. And once that is all lined up, then I can burnish. So for the second one, we just want to fold over and burnish the sides. So the 2-inch flaps, we're going to add glue to those. And this is simply going to slide. The only reason for this line is so that you can see where you want to stop when you slide this into the second pocket. It will be your guide for doing that. And I feel like mine is a little long. So, and that can happen. Somehow this one cut a little longer. It does happen. So I'm just going to kind of work my score line down a little bit shorter. And I'm going to go ahead and miter a little more of that off. And we'll see if that does the trick. It should. All right, I'm going to slide that up to the line in the pocket. Yeah. I'm not quite sure why that pocket seems a little longer, but that's okay. Mine is probably just cut a little off. I'm just going to line it up like so. Use the edge of my bone folder to just kind of maneuver it. Straighten it out a bit. All right. So then you have your 2 vertical pockets and your slide in, just like the other one, will go in here. And then I am going to add a small little square band here, or one of the cut aparts you will have seen in my walkthrough on here that will have our magnet on it, and the other side of the magnet will be on this pocket to hold this closed. Okay, so then we just have signature 3 side B left. This one is also fairly simple. I'm going to grab my scoreboard back out. We will have 2 pieces. So one is 3 by 9 1/4. You know, put that in your scoreboard at that 9 1/4, score it half, turn, and score it half on the other end. Or you can score it half and then at 8 3/4, whichever works best for you. I'm going to miter all of those edges. And then I am going to fold and burnish. And this is a rather large belly band, but there's a reason for it. And I will show you in just a moment what that reason is. Next, you're going to have another 3, but this one is 5.5 inches long. We're going to score this at half. Flip it around and score it again at half. Okay, and then we're going to miter those as well. Actually, no, we don't need to miter these ones. Yeah, I'm going to miter them. Jen can't talk today. It's all good. We'll figure this out. All right, everything is mitered. And I am going to burnish. All right, now this is going to glue top and bottom to our other belly band in the middle. Now, I'm not going to glue mine right now because I need to be able to decorate it. So I'm going to use my handy dandy tape here. If I can get it open today, it's just not being very nice. I think I may have put the tip on the wrong way last time or something. I don't know. All right, so I'm going to add just some of this repositionable tape so I can show you. So what you have here is 8 1/4 when you're done. So if you put your piece, your belly band, into your scoreboard so that it lines up with that 8 1/4, you should be able to figure out right about where the middle is a little easier. So I'm going to go in and put this at about 1 7/8. And that shows you how that goes, okay? And then this will simply go on the middle of the page, and then there's an insert that will be magnetized or tie, and will slide into this pocket. So that is the signatures. I will come back with another little excerpt on what I'm doing with the front, inside, and back inside covers. All right, so for the front and back covers, they will mirror each other. You will have a flap and a pocket. And when this pocket is folded down, there will be an insert that will hold the pocket closed. Okay, so what you need for that is the pocket, which will measure 7.5 by 3.5. That is going to be scored, the 7.5 in your scoreboard. That will be scored at half, at 7, and then turned, and we'll score at half again, or you can turn one way and score at 3. So that you're scoring at half on 3 sides, fold and burnish. And that adheres, as you can see, to the bottom of the page. And then for the flap, you have a 6 by 6.5. So, or excuse me, a 6.5 wide by 6 tall. On the 6, you're just simply going to score that. If I could find my scoring tool. Keep losing my tools today. You're just going to put that in at 6 and score at half. Miter those sides. And I'm going to round at 7 millimeters my bottom corners. And that is my top flap. Fold. Now on the other one, I ended up skimming off about 1/8 of an inch. This one does not look like I need to do that. This one seems to fit better, so I won't do that on that one. Again, our pocket is 7.5 by 3.5. So that simply goes in your scoreboard. At the 7.5, we score at half. Turn this way, score at 3. Turn this way and score at half. Miter your corners and then burnish. Okay, and that goes on the bottom. So that is the front and back inside covers, and I will be back to show you how to put the signatures in the book. All right, so we're just going to wrap this video up with the showing you how I am going to put the pages in the signatures. So I'm going to grab those, and most of mine either have the double-sided repositionable tape, or they have regular glue on them, and I'm not decorating these yet, but I want to show you with, I'm going to use repositionable tape to put them in as well, because I like to decorate mine and then put them in, so I'm going to be doing that. So I need to get these in order first. We have this, yes, okay, I think, is that correct? Making sure I have them all correct first. Double check my little notes over here. Yes, okay. So our first signature is the one with the graduated flaps. I just have this with double-sided tape, so I'm going to pull it off so it's out of my way. All right. So you have your spine that is 2 inches, and we have our 1/2 inch gussets here. So this will go in the book. I'm just going to use some repositionable tape. These are 8 1/4, and we have an 8.5 inch book. So you're going to have an 1/8 from the top and an 1/8 from the bottom, and we're going to go right up to that score line and put this down. Now pull your cover forward and you'll be able to line this up a little neater, because you'll be able to see that line. Craft is a little hard to show on camera, but I'm doing my best here. Okay, so then I'm going to fold that over, and that's going to leave that. Then our next signature will go in, which is, did I do this backwards? Yes, goes this way. Our next one, let me see here. We have our, yeah, that's where our pullout is. Okay. So our next one is signature 2. So it has the flap to the side. No, that's not right. Goodness me. I want the one that pulls out. This one is what we want. Right? No. The flap was correct. Good grief. Jenna's losing it already today. I'm going to add my tape. This is the one that has the pull out on this. It has the flap on this side, not pull out. All right. I'm going to put this one right up against, but not underneath, our last one. Just so they line up nicely. And I like to fold mine over and just make sure everything is lining up, and it does. And then, of course, your final one will go right behind that one. Add our tape. And I will put that one right up next to the other one. And put that in, and there we go. I got some on my 1/4 inch. I didn't mean to do that, but that will be our signatures. Easy peasy stuff. All right, so that is my tutorial. I hope you've enjoyed this and that you've watched the walkthrough so you can see how this turned out. For now, have a great day and keep watching my channel for new stuff. Bye-bye.